sessions to give these fine folks here standing before you an opportunity to share with you a little bit about their Guatemala mission trip and also Hope Chest. And so we thank you guys both for being here today and for being, and Martha's going to be a part of this as well. So we used to do this a little more often pre-COVID. You know, everything's different since COVID. We used to kind of have a couple mission Sundays a year, and so this is kind of a good way to get back in that habit. And we had a natural break in classes, so please give them your attention, and I'll turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thank you. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
Bueno, bien? Very good. Me llamo Papa Lee. I'd like to open with an opening prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this morning, for us to be able to share our great experiences in Guatemala City and Tecpan recently, and guide us next year, or this year, as we go back in December. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks for having us today. I'm Julie Sostek, and this is Lee Larkin. And we also have Martha Glover with us to help with the presentation. But the three of us have all been on the Guatemala mission trip. Martha in 2021, Lee and I in 22. Anyway, we just want to take this opportunity to share with you what your support means to this mission, this Guatemala mission. So we're going to show some pictures, talk about some of the things we experienced, and we welcome your questions throughout the presentation. At the end, whenever you something that you'd like us to clarify. Excuse me. But anyway, Zion and Faith have been supporting this mission since 2018. We partner with Faith Lutheran down in Oakville. And we work through Children's Hope Chest, which is an organization based out of Colorado Springs. Children's Hope Chest partners with an organization called AMBI. AMBI is the organization that is on the ground in Guatemala. The thing that has been so impressive throughout this entire process is the stability and the support and the consistency of that, of the volunteers and the program of AMBI. I think, without that, I think it would be an entirely different experience. So that's been a huge blessing, and I think it really, I know Martha's nodding her head, you can really feel it when you're down there. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of the structure. I know a lot of you are prayer partners. We had a drive a year or so ago where we signed up a bunch of prayer partners. We sponsor, we call it prayer partners, but we sponsor about just over 90 children in the 2 locations. And there is about 10 to 12 children that are still needing sponsorship, so there's information, and I'm happy to share it too. We encourage you prayerfully consider that as we go along here. So anyway, we'll get started, and let us know if you have any questions. So it starts with our welcome at Verbena. So Verbena is a site in Guatemala City. It was amazing to walk through the gates of the facility where they meet and experience the welcome, especially because they remembered us. I've been there 3 times now, so they remembered us coming back. They were so excited to have us. You can go ahead and flip that if you want. Just again, a little more of the welcome. It was Lee's first trip, so it was also, I think, I'll let him tell a little bit about that feeling. Anyway, that we spent half our time in Verbena and half our time at the second location, which we're going to get to here. So,
Yeah, as far as the leaders of these groups incorporate civic lessons, and this happened to have been the first one we did was a recycle project. And they don't do a lot of recycling down there. They don't really know much about it. But we made these containers, and we do have them on site here at the site. We did painting. We got a lot of paint on ourselves, but it was all in good fun. And this is just a little project that showed them, and then they talked about it as well. And this is a slide where The children, as Julie mentioned, they have a choice in picking who they want as their sponsors. What you would do is put your name in the hat and then they would pick you. And up in the upper left-hand corner is Becky Reed, one of our Zion teachers. She sent a picture of her Zion students. And so we got to get the picture of the students, and then Lewis yeah, is her sponsor, and he was holding the picture. So it was pretty special to be able to reconnect, and several people who were sponsors at both churches sent things along, whether it's a cross or other things for their child, since they weren't able to make it, but we were able to deliver them to them. So it was really, really special to be able to do that. And one of our teachers is Catherine. Here you can see her in the larger picture. And she wasn't able to be with us today. Her mom had surgery, and so she wasn't able to be with us. But she was instrumental. It was great having a school teacher there. And what they did, well, she wrote a little note to us. First of all, I'm sorry for missing the Guatemala presentation. I'm currently with my mom, caring for her during the recovery of her shoulder surgery. Thank you so much for your support of the Hope Chest and AMB Guatemala mission. Zion support for this mission doesn't just support the kids in Guatemala. It encourages our Zion students to share God's love too. My call to Zion is to teach those students who enter my classroom each day. Upon my return, I was able to share my stories, experiences with Zion kids, encouraging them to be the hands and feet of Jesus on earth. What a joy it would be for me to return to Guatemala someday and serve alongside the students. Thank you again for your continued support and encouragement of this important mission, spreading Jesus' love and salvation to others. And you'll see later on in the presentation where our students made crosses and bookmarkers and notes, some in Spanish where the kids are studying Spanish, and we brought them down and gave them to the kids when we were with them.
Yeah, so Children's Hope Chest, focuses on different areas, but things that they really like to hit on, I'm pretty loud about it, are the physical, spiritual, and emotional support, and you're going to see that over these next few slides. But the one thing I wanted to hit on, and that your support helped with tremendously, is the physical support. We have seen the kids look better, look healthier, be more nourished throughout the time that we've been going since 2018. They get breakfast, snack, and lunch when they are at the center. The parents and or other volunteers provide, bring in the meals, but of course your support helps them do that. This is actually the sister of Abby. Abby is one of the longtime volunteers, so this is Abby's sister that's preparing the meal. And then my prayer partner, Yostine, is actually helping her serve. So big part of the program is nutrition, and they're very grateful for that support. If you want to flip this slide, Lee?
One thing I would say on this one also is, through our donations and support of this group, as I believe we have the table and chairs that you're seeing here that they use daily in their activities, which is supported by the groups, and that's key, especially for all, for the meals and for the activities that we do with the kids. Here is a slide that talks about on the spiritual side, we shared the creation story with the children, and we, the night before, at our hostel, made our signs as we talked about the creation story, and from the planet to the stars, moons, God, etc. And it was very impactful. And then afterwards, the kids will be able to create their own God's creation. And so it was a lot of fun. Even though there was a language barrier with them, we did have translators that were there with us. Through the smiles and hugs and laughter, we could communicate with them. And it was really fun watching them create whatever they wanted to create for this. And then Abby taught, they do lessons each day. And this particular lesson was the 10 Commandments and teaching, the children about the 10 Commandments. And so we made handprints, and then obviously you can see they painted them, and then they dried them out, and they were able to take them home. And it was pretty funny as we went in Tech Pond, we could go into the houses. You'll see this later on, but kids are proud of these things. I mean, they take them home, they show mom and dad, they show friends and family, and they keep them and treasure them. So it was handmade, and it was a lot of fun. And here's Catherine again, bottom left. And here, I think this book might have been in Spanish, and I can read Spanish, but not very great. But anyway, it was just a lot of fun to be able to communicate and have fun with the kids.
Yeah, and then to just kind of continue on that. So as they're meeting, when we're not there, they meet, I might have it actually later on, I'm trying to remember now. Throughout the school year, they meet on the weekends, and then during breaks, they meet every day during the week. But they're always there's a Bible lesson, there's a civic lesson, there's playtime, there's meal time. So it's not just that when we're there, they're having the Bible lessons. That is a huge part of their mission. But this was kind of then going, so we went physical, spiritual, this was emotional. And this was an experience that I haven't had as we visited before. But the larger picture, these children witnessed to us in Guatemala City. And the larger picture is a picture of 3 children. And I guess I want you to understand the impact that Children's Hope Chest in Ambi is having. These 3 children were living on the street with their mother. And they've been doing so for quite a while. So the authorities picked the children up and took them away. Well, Ambi found out about it and found out that they got a hold of Children's Services, found out that the children were a few hours away. The grandmother wanted to take custody. The grandmother was a part of this mission. And so Ambi got a lawyer involved, helped the grandma get the kids back. The kids are back as a solid part of the program, all thanks to Ambi's interaction with that. So amazing. The kids stood there and told that story.
And I think she did it pretty quickly. I mean, they didn't waste a lot of time. She knew what buttons to push, who to go to get these kids, because they were a couple hours away, and as time passes, who knows what could happen. Right. So they're back in the group now.
Yeah, I think you made a good point there. That's what they were afraid of. I think as time passes, they would lose track of where they were. So that was amazing. On the bottom is Lewis again. So that's Becky's prayer partner. And Lewis's brother was in a severe motorcycle accident. The medical care that they could get to said that they had to amputate his leg. Well, Ambi got involved, got some better medical care, got into a better facility. They were able to do surgery and save the leg. So just incredible. And then I don't know exactly how to explain Angel in the upper corner, but one thing about Angel is that during COVID, one thing Ambi did was they stayed connected through video. Video chats, video lessons. They did deliver meals to homes and things like that. They did an amazing job of staying connected. Well, Anna, who we'll see in a later slide, who is the founder of Ambi, she's the heart, soul, and blood, sweat, and tears of Ambi, noticed as she was talking to Angel that he had a cut above his eye. Well, that is a symbol of a gang. So she was extremely concerned that he was taking a turn towards the gangs, which are just so prevalent in the city, right? It's so hard for this kids, especially the boys, to stay away from the gangs that control the different zones of the city. So anyway, she started talking to him and just reminded him who he was, who he could be, who he needed to be for his family, who he needed to be to serve God. And anyway, she kept him from going the route of the gang. And he has been part of the program for a long time. You probably remember him, Martha. He had a little bit more of an attitude when we went. Yep. And anyway, he graduated valedictorian and is a leader now in the program. So I think he's an incredible guy, right, ladies?
Yes, yes. And it's fun because, you know, a lot of the children are younger, and it was nice to see older ones that have been in the program coming back and giving back to the program. Lewis and Angel, and then there was some other group, a table of older kids. But then during the projects and during mealtime, etc., I mean, they're stepping in and they're helping to serve and you know, help them on the projects and things like that. We had a map there with Angel in front, and we were explaining, you know, we're in the United States, and we're in St. Louis, or Missouri in the middle, and they all got a kick out of learning about, you know, America, because they heard about it forever. And here's a slide that talks about Zion students sharing God's love, sending gifts. You know, we did do, Catherine and other classes did bracelets, necklaces, crosses for the kids that they all were able to take home. And it was such a blessing to have, you know, Catherine and the students be able to participate. And what Catherine and Julie did every day was a webcast? Or
We just sent the messages back to Zion, and then with Vicky's help and drawing a blank on the name of the IT teacher, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Amanda.
Amanda, yes, Allenkamp, thank you. With their assistants, they shared that with the kids and the church, and it was amazing.
Right. They almost got instant updates as we were there the next day. They got to be able to see what was going on that day and seeing all the activities and everything. So it was a lot of fun sharing the gifts, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same this year.
We had the opportunity to have dinner with Anna. So Anna's in the upper corner there. And that's, Bill is one of the leaders from Faith. So, but the whole team, we had dinner with Anna, got to hear her story some more. Again, an incredible person who has built this program out of the trunk of her car, her and her husband, who is now deceased from cancer. But anyway, she's given so much time and effort and resources to the program. Abby's in the lower corner. Abby's been there the entire time we've been there too. Abby was right with Anna, serving the kids out of the trunk of their car on a Saturday years and years ago. So they're in the city. Condi is also a strong leader in the city. She's not in that photo. And then in the blue, in the larger picture in the middle, is Velma. Velma is the leader in Tekpon. And again, she is the strongest. Martha's making yeah.
She's little but mighty.
Yeah, very mighty, little and mighty, exactly. She witnessed to us, she nearly died during COVID. She had some medical issues and just didn't seek the care. And I will say the other staff at Ombi stepped in and got her the medical care that she needed. She's fierce, not only in the program, but in the community. So,
right.
So that was a blessing.
One thing I would say about Anna in the middle picture, and add as you need to, but she grew up in Guatemala City, you know, and she used to go out with her, as I recall, her father, and have like, I would say a U-Haul truck or whatever, full of food and toys. So as a little kid, she was, you know, doing that to the community. I kind of think, you know, there's the haves and the have-nots down there. She probably was part of the haves, and we're missioning to the have-nots. But it was such, you know, hearing her story at dinner, first time I've ever met her. And doesn't she oversee 11 sites?
Mm-hmm, correct.
She has 11 sites in the community, and we support 2 of them. So you can imagine how busy they are across the whole country of Guatemala. And
that's her volunteer job. She has a full-time job that helps support herself and her son.
It just is amazing.
Yeah.
So now then we transition up to Tekpon, which is a couple-hour bus ride out of Guatemala City. There's 10 of us. We're on a bus. We have a driver and we have 3 translators. So Anyway, we're driving up and we stopped on the way at a Texaco gas station, and I guess he needed to get gas, and so he said, "You got 10 minutes if you want to go get a soda or something." And we're on the bus, we're getting off the bus, and I was kind of taken back, but there's armed guards with AK-47s or whatever, every other pump, and I'm like, and I was always afraid to get off the bus, because it was like, you know, this is scary, but they do that because that's the environment. The banditos could come in and wipe out the whole strip center and get on the highway and be gone, you know, and so it deters them. It was a very, very nice Texaco gas station, nice as in the States, but hey, I thought, and I'm secretively trying to take a picture. I didn't put that in there, but I was afraid I was going to get shot or something. But anyway, it was very safe and a lot of fun. But yeah, we transitioned up to Tech Pond, and it was a very similar welcome. Here are the kids in the center welcoming us, and this was last November, so the masks were in line at that time. But very warm welcome. And then I want to point out the building in the back, the orange structure, is something that we, as our two churches, have donated money for them to build this secure room so Velma can store her supplies, her glue, her chalk, her balloons, everything, and it's secure. This is, we don't own the room, I mean, we don't own the facility. It's kind of like the civic center where they all meet in town. And so we have our own room, which is great because you need to be able to lock stuff up. And then right around the corner, we didn't have a picture of it, our bathrooms that we've made through our donations. And there's, two for the boys and two for the girls, and then there's a wash sink out front. And it's, I hate to think what it looked like before, but it is very nice, very clean, and it's just a great thing that we all have been able to do and donate this. And then...
Yeah, the bathroom facility, that classroom facility is huge in that area.
Was it there when you were there?
No, so
No, we painted somewhere.
we painted that blue. We painted that
Oh, the
blue
blue?
and the wall around the
Alright.
community center. And then the other structure is new, and there's 4 restrooms with running water, with a sink, with yeah, it's amazing.
It did a great job.
Yeah. And it's because of Velma's relationships in the community, the relationships she built with the elders of the community to allow her to be in that facility.
Yeah.
It's it's a process. It's a process.
And then the welcome continues. The kids made signs for each of us, and mine says, "You are my hope." And then they presented it to us. And even though we have a language barrier, through the hugs, smiles, and laughter, we're able to communicate with them and had an awesome time with the kids.
Yeah, and just for spiritual sharing, the kids had performed a skit for us. They focused on the heroes of the Bible. They focused on, where am I at here? Oh yeah, Joseph, David, Ruth, and Esther. It was great. They danced, they sang, they took so much time, they put so much time into their costumes. They were so proud of that skit that they did. And then they had a craft that went along with it. They could make their own hero. And then we also, of course, repeated, you'll see a lot of repeat here now, but we repeated the creation story with them also.
And as far as physical support, as mentioned earlier at both sites, breakfast, snack, and lunch, and we became the chefs. I do not know how Velma does it. I really don't. I mean, she is like a one-man band.
Yeah.
And, she not only goes to the market the night before to buy breakfast, snack, and lunch, and then she brings it on a bus. I mean, in prayers for her, because she, then she was sick, can you imagine coordinating 25, 30 kids? at a young age, but they all were very well behaved, and it was awesome. But anyway, we're cutting up, and here we are. I remember Velma coming by and say, smaller, smaller, you know, because there were too big of chunks that we were doing. And in the bottom right, we're making homemade guacamole, which was pretty cool. And we put it on a flat tortilla, one with beans, guacamole, and tomatoes, and the kids just ate them up and loved it, and giving them some nutrition before we move on to the next activity. So anyway, it was just a lot of fun.
And again, the tables and the chairs, same, you know, provided by the support of the churches. So, yeah.
And then here's Catherine again, our famous school teacher, 8th grade teacher, getting out to see the children as we were making some home visits in Tech Pond, and sharing the gifts that the Zion students had made for them. And the kids loved it. It was just a lot of fun sharing, you know, God's love with the children there in Tech Pond.
So something new to the program for us, but definitely is part of the mission of Children's Hope Chest, is the sustainability portion of the program, right? I mean, you want to focus on, you know, we want to show them love, right? We want to show them support, but they need to continue to have sustainability options to after the program ends or if something happens. So the sustainability program that was implemented when we were in Tech Pond in 2022 as a chicken coop program. So let's see if I can get my notes right here. Or maybe it says, so I think there was 15 families that were going to, maybe it's 11 families that are going to receive chicken coops. So some of the families had their supplies when we were there, so we were able to visit those families, help them maybe figure out how to set it up. But it was really just mainly more to show them support because they had to take ownership. They built the coops. They are receiving the chickens. But anyway, so the family in the left, the father, super family, he wanted to talk to us about it, but he didn't really want us to help. He knew exactly what he was going to do the next day to get that coop built, and he really didn't want us in his way. So it was great. We had a great visit. But if you flip the slide there, Lee, you will see the next day that's their coop. They were done.
They had sent the picture.
Yeah, they texted that picture the next day. They were done. So he knew what he was doing, and now, if you want to go one more slide, I have the opportunity every other month to participate in a huddle meeting with Hope Chest in Colorado Springs, and then the Hope Chest support on the ground in Guatemala. And it's a great way for us to stay connected throughout the year. And we were able to get an update on the chicken coop program on our last call, and they sent these pictures. So I think there's 3 families at this point who have received 15 chickens, and food's all being provided. So I think it's going to be a great program. They're working on purchasing the rest of the chickens. Of course, you know, there's always a glitch, right? Especially when you're in a community like this. And so once, you know, kind of once word got out that there was demand on chickens, the price of chickens went up, right? So they had to do a little more bartering to be able to get what they needed within the budget. But anyway, they're getting them filled, and it's going to be an amazing program.
And we were able to, just a little background, we were able to ship in to each family the wood, the chicken wire, the lock for the door, the sheet metal for the roof, you know. And so as we went to the sites, some of them, well, they just arrived, so we did get the post hole digging, which we all learned how to do post holes. Very rich soil, I will say. It was amazing how dark and brown it was. I mean, it was very, very rich. But anyway, they had the supplies, and it was so heartwarming to see the finished product even before we left. So they did, yeah, the 15 hens and 1 rooster. And so they're gonna have the eggs and they can eat them, the eggs. And then if they need to, you know, sometimes you might have too many, you can sell them and make a little money. And then on down the line, I guess they could harvest the chickens and, you know, raise the little chickens. And so anyway, I'll be anxious to see how this program goes, but it was really exciting.
They're discussing also creating a co-op. So this is maybe just the beginning of this project, teaching them how to budget within that co-op, how to trade within that co-op. So they have big plans for what they're going to do with this program and how it's going to help bring resources to the community. Working on the sustainability program for the Urbana location, the city location. It's a little harder, resources, housing, there's just a lot of issues. But anyway, they're working diligently on it. They have some ideas, and hopefully within, I'd say the next 12 months, we have something kicked off in the city also.
Then we were in Tecpan also for 2 days, and we had the activities and lunch first days, and then we go out to family visits. And Velma is well grounded in the community. I mean, she knew every family, you know, she knew where they lived. No, there's not street signs that says down this road. It's all dirt roads. It was eye-opening because they have black PVC pipe about this big just laying on top of the ground, and that's their water. They use it to cook, to bathe, clean. In each house they've got a fireplace that you can always smell wood burning because that's how they make their meals and whatnot. And these people were just so gracious and loving. They opened their homes up to us, and we did at least 2 or 3 a day home visits.
Yeah, well, and I think ×2, right? Because where we split up.
Yeah, we split up, so we did hit multiple homes. And, you know, during the visits, the families are grateful for the support that we've been able to provide them. We ask each family for prayer requests, and then we close with a prayer at the end. And the bottom left is a family that was impactful, where the mother's in the orange, I believe. And anyway, she was praying to break the cycle, because little kids who are in the community get pregnant early, and then they have little babies, and then the cycle just continues. And she was in tears, saying, please pray that the cycle can be broken, because it's not a good cycle. And then here's another house visit where we were, and I think this was at your.
Yeah, I think my third child from Tecpan, I think she was a neighbor there. Yeah, so it was the first time I ran across her during the visit. She came up to me. She was a neighbor there.
So you can see that's their home in the bottom right. Very modest. One thing I did when I was there, because I did a blog on Facebook and just kind of capture my trip to Guatemala. Yes, there's poverty and sadness, but there is joys and smiles and happiness. And if I took 50 pictures of the vegetation down there that's blooming, flowers. Poinsettia bush, which isn't in this picture, is like this big. I mean, still with red leaves. And it's just an absolute beautiful country. And the soil where we stayed in Tecpan was, we took a morning walk every morning, and we'd go by the fields. And, they're doing lettuce and cabbage and broccoli and all these other vegetables that they're growing there. Very, very friendly people. They're going on their scooters and honking at us and whatnot. And I remember taking a picture and sent it back to my daughter. She has 3 kids here in the States. And there were little kids out there in the fields at 8, 9 years of age, at 8 in the morning, working. And I'm like, tell the kids to keep going to school, you know, I mean, it was just, you know, there's a mother, I had a great picture of this mother with a bambino on her back, and I was a little nervous at first, but I went up and introduced myself, and, you know, can I take a picture? She says, oh, yeah, and she was very sweet, and anyway, just very gracious people, and it was just a lot of fun. These are part of the family visits. Top left is where, as we went, this was the second day, you could see the kids have already predominantly placed their activity in the house. So we got to see the work that we did in the house on display here. We did, top right, close each visit with a prayer and listen to the mother, and we did have the translators, as mentioned. We had 3 translators, which was very helpful, and then the home visit.
Yeah, so just to wrap up again, you know, the support that is being provided is just tremendous, and they're so grateful, and it's making a difference. It's impacting their lives. You know, just ask you to keep them in your prayers as we continue this mission. Martha, did you have anything you wanted to share? I'm putting you on the spot.
All I can say is, it is amazing the changes. I came in 2019, actually, and the involvement of the churches and their outreach to the community is just growing, and it's the Holy Spirit working. And the one thing that I can add to that is, I thought I was doing them the favor about coming. I'll tell you, they did more to me in my faith spiritually than I could imagine. And so prayers are very important here. Financially, it's important to support. And the last thing, if you're ever interested about going, go ahead. Pastor's sermon today was saying, go out, you know, he's got the commission to go out and go beyond your comfort zone. That's what I did. You gotta go beyond your comfort zone. Because the comfort, like physically, it was so much fun coming back to the States because all you had to go to the bathroom and put your hand under water and it comes out. And then to dry it, you have paper. So the little things that we take for granted here, they don't. But it's really neat to see the love and the support from these leaders and also families. It's a joy to see. So thank you for going back.
Thank you for going. Yeah, I think you brought up 2 great points. I think everybody who comes back, we talked about it so many times, the impact that it has on us versus the impact that it has on them.
Yes.
You just can't even hardly put it into words. It's amazing. So I think that's been an incredible thing. And I thought you said one other thing, but now I can't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, there's some handouts around. Certainly can get you some more, but I just wanted to point out a couple things. When our next trip is, really, if you have any inkling of wanting to go, as you can tell, I'd love to talk to you about it. So, but really pray about it, and the experience is amazing.
Here's one more thought.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that sort of hindered my thinking about going was the cost. And I presented this to a Bible study of mine, and I was saying the cost should never be a big part about making your decision. And when I left, one of the ladies came up to me and gave me a check. And she said, I was only going to give you 100, but I gave you 500. So again, she couldn't go, but it was like, thank you, Lord. And so the Lord provided that too. So if you're, you know, in sort of like a situation like me, don't hesitate to ask for support, because a lot of you can do that for those who are going.
I'm going to say one. When we were in Guatemala City, these boys, a group of 5 or 6 boys, taught me marbles. And many of you have maybe played marbles when you were younger. I know my dad, bucket of old marbles. And, you're used to flat surfaces like the floor here. These are cobblestone things, and they're playing marbles, and every day we played. And they kind of took me into their wing, and at the end of the event, one of the boys gave me a marble, which was pretty cool, because, they were holding them like bags of gold. And it was really special. And then another boy had made this little Guatemala pouch that I carry the marble in on my keychain. So just kind of remind you of it. But it's very impactful. These kids love hugs and smiles and just the generosity of sharing God's love. So if you ever have questions about it, talk with Julie and I.
Yeah, I'm going to say two quick things and then open up for questions. I'm sorry. One is if you want to be a sponsor or want to be a prayer partner, there's a website here, or you can reach out to me. I can help you with that. The other is I had an opportunity to do a podcast with my prayer partner, Yostine, who's 15. There's a link to it. I published the link here. If you have a chance to listen to it, just talks about how our relationship has been able to develop over the years and maybe what that means to both. It's about 15, 20 minutes and what that means to both of us. So, questions? Comments? Yes, sir.
Is there a local church with whom you partner?
Pardon me?
Is there a local church with whom you partner?
No, there is not a local church with whom we partner. The families just kind of worship where they worship. No, just the organization of OMBI. So, good question.
Do you know what OMBI means?
I don't know what OMBI means.
Isn't it Anna's name? And it has Anna's name in it.
I don't know what OMBI stands for. I might find out now, though. Thank you. Other questions, comments? Okay, well, yes, sir.
How is the Hope Chest in the middle of all this?
Yeah, so Hope Chest is really up here. They're really the lead organization. They are the ones who recruited us, recruited Zion, recruited Faith, right? And they link us to OMBI in Guatemala. But we start with Hope Chest, and they do all the organizing of the trips, of the budgeting, of the resources. Everything flows through Hope Chest in Colorado Springs, and I do encourage you to go to their website. And we've had amazing experience with the staff at Hope Chest. But yeah, they are the lead organization that brings everything together. Yes.
When we do go to Empower a Child, will they ask us which church we're from?
Yes, they may not specifically ask, but there's a note field. Definitely, just note that you're Zion St. Charles.
Okay.
And if you're going through that and it's a little unclear, just let me know. Or let me know that you did it, and then I'll follow up and make sure that it gets put in the right place too. So, that's what the one thing I wanted to say is, throughout the year, you'll receive you probably will receive some correspondence from your child then. They try to send letters 3 times a year. And definitely one of the bigger parts of your mission as a prayer partner is to write to them, right? And encourage them, encourage their families. I'm really bad at it. Yostine and I basically have this understanding that we're both really bad at it, but we try to be better at writing letters. So, but yeah, great question.
But now what's really nice is I just got a letter via email, and that was wonderful to click the link and just type a note to my partner, and then I was very efficient that way. If I have to write a letter and mail it, I'm not going to get it done, but I just did that recently, so that helps that communication.
Yes, and thank you for saying that. That's so true. You get your letters now via email, and there's a link right there, so if you're good, better than me, you can respond right. No, that's fabulous, so that's great, right? Yeah, and it's translated right back to them then, so thank you for sharing that. And I hope you've seen that you're getting more communications from CHC. Do you get some of the links of the other things that are happening with Hope Chest? I know our sites were focused not too long ago on that link, so yeah. So there's good communication. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Looks like from what I can see, Ambi means amor y bienestar.
Amor is love.
More is love, right,
A
exactly.
little y and then bienstar.
Okay.
Welfare.
What was that?
Hope and welfare.
Hope and welfare. Love, hope, and welfare.
That makes sense.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Sounds like you need to go on the trip, by the way. Who had the question? Oh, Lisa.
So when you were saying the churches were supplying the tables and the chairs, and if you don't have a time or you don't want to go, is there a way to general donations to supply and help support others that go, or the supplies that are needed?
Yeah, and what I would say to that, and I don't know if any of the pastors are here or not, but that's okay, I'll pretend I know what I'm talking about. But I really think if you reach out to the church office, there's mission funds here, and it could be directed to the large mission or just to a specific mission, and I'm pretty sure it could be directed to the Guatemala mission, because we do take we do take supplies, right? We go there, we can buy things for them, what they need, so there definitely is a fund that can be donated to here to support. I mean, what we really like to do, we have big plans. We'd really like to get a facility in the city that they can call their own, right? We'd like to purchase a home or a location because they meet in the community center, they don't have any place that they call their own and they store their stuff. So you can make donations, yes, thank you.
And there are, I know I had friends, I don't know if I put it on Facebook or message people, but asking for donations. Being retired, I asked for donations for the trip, and people were able to send them into the church, and she did send them a tax form. I'm not sure which form it was, but anyway, so it does, and as Julie said, we took 2 huge suitcases to each site and left the suitcases, but crayons and glue and paper and scissors and soccer balls and just games, Uno. I mean, they had a blast playing Uno and other fun things that we had break, and so it was just a lot of fun, and we left them with it. And they were very grateful to get all the new supplies down there, and we'll do that again this year.
Oh, okay, gotcha, because you packed the suitcases,
Yeah.
That's another thing too. If you have a big suitcase you're thinking about throwing away,
Yeah,
maybe
save it for us.
give me a call. I take them and I leave them.
Yeah.
So and my supplies a little dwindled. So yeah, go ahead.
Do they have Bibles?
I was been thinking about that. They not I'm probably in the family homes, right? I was thinking the other day about I love the Bibles that we're using for the children's message, and I was thinking, gosh, I wonder if we could get those in Spanish.
Yes.
I think those would be amazing to take. I need to, I think that would be a great thing for us to do. I think they would treasure those.
Children's version in Spanish.
So good comment, thank you.
Good idea.
Well, thank you again for your time, for your prayers, for your support. Again, reach out if you have any questions, and we'd love to have some of you. We've got some spots left on the trip, but we're kind of coming up to a point where we're going to be doing some planning, so we'd love to have anybody. You're volunteering to go along, is that? Oh. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, ma'am.
So I was just checking, in the prayer list, it lists all the missions, and there's Children's Hope Chest is one, and Guatemala City and Tech and Children and Staff is another. So if you wanted to write that on your envelope, which one would you go with?
Either would be fine, because it's really just one. It's really just one. So I think in the prayer list, Children's Hope Chest being the organization, but the missions of Guatemala City and Tecpan are the actual sites. But so it would really be, you'd make it to Zion for the benefit of the Guatemala mission. The Tecpan in Guatemala City.
Okay. So that is one way people could donate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Write it on your envelope.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Anything else? Otherwise, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.